What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday morning. It is right on 5 o'clock at the moment. I'm heading into work. I've got half a day's work. We're just doing an AV install, or a refit I should say. We're pulling out the old stuff, putting in the new stuff. It's been a pretty good job, pretty straightforward, plenty of hours. We've been doing 9.5 hour days, obviously half a day Saturday, and a couple of days next week. We should be pretty good. And a lot of you guys will know that I've had a couple of weeks off the last few weeks just because we're low on work, so I've jumped at the chance of jumping on this job. And we have a bit more work coming our way. We're just sort of waiting for that to start. It sort of comes up and then gets pushed back. But I thought I would take you through just a couple of updates on a few of the tools I've been using, and a few things that are out at the moment that I wouldn't mind looking at. So you would have seen on my Instagram that I got the Fluke T6 1000 Pro, and I haven't been able to use it too much, but so far it's been a fairly alright meter. Usually I use the Fluke 117. I know that's pretty much the go-to for most guys in the industry. I know most of the people I work with have been running that meter. That's been a really good meter for me. I've had it for maybe 10 years or so now. And using the T6 1000, it's definitely a lot different, so it's taken me a little bit to get used to. The main difference being there are shorter leads. That's one of my main problems for it, is the shorter leads. It does have the field sense, which I haven't really been able to use out in the field yet. And if you haven't seen that, it's basically picks up the voltage and the amperage through the two prongs, and it's highly sensitive, so it's a lot better than a lot of the clamp meters in the past. So for that function, it should be good. The other thing was, we may as well stick on the testing gear. So Klein Tools have brought out 2 more test pens, which I'm pretty keen to have a look at. I'm not sure of the model numbers. I'll put them on the screen and in the description, but there's 2 different ones. One is a low voltage one, which goes from 12 volt to 1000, and the other one is just a standard volt stick, which goes from 70 to 1000. And the low voltage one does have an indicator for low voltage, no voltage, and your normal voltage, which would be pretty handy. I don't like to have the low voltage test pencils. I've seen them in the past. I've had apprentices use them in the past, and they just bring up absolutely everything. All your inductance on any cable. I've had data cable come up live. And so when I've been doing strip out with an apprentice, I tell them obviously to test before they cut, and they're coming up to me and telling me that pretty much every cable is live because their test pencil is so sensitive. So I pretty much, I hate those. I don't see much of a reason to have them, but maybe the low voltage guys out there have more of a reason to use them. But I do like the look of the standard one that they've brought out. It's got the light on the end, it has the certain indicators, and it also has a self-test button. So I haven't been able to see what this, what is involved with this, but it says it has a self-test function. So you press it when you turn it on, and it lets you know that the volt stick is working properly. So that's a pretty good little function. I haven't seen it on anything else. And Klein Tools has been pretty good lately. They've been bringing out a few bits and pieces. Obviously I got that Tradesman Pro Backpack. I've been using that at work. It's still up in the air whether I would ever change to the Klein tool bag over the Vito Pro Pack. So they're both backpacks. So some of the main differences are, I don't really like the one zipper. With the Klein tool bag, it's one zip, it opens up, and it doesn't stay standing. So both sides will fall onto the ground. I don't know if that's what the design is, that it just lays on the ground, which is fine. It's probably fine for some people, but I'm definitely used to the Pro Pack from Vito. From the Tech Pack, sorry. that it stays standing, and you have two zippers on one side, and you have one zipper on one side and the other zipper on the other. It stays standing the whole time. It has straps to keep it upright, and it just makes it a little bit easier to get your tools. It doesn't fall over, and you can fit a little bit more in it because you can put stuff on the center console part, the center flap. But other than that, the bag has been really good, and I must admit, for I think it's 150, 160 bucks, the Klein tool bag is really good. I would definitely recommend it for apprentices or people that just don't want to spend the money at the moment on a Vito. I know there's a lot of people that don't like to spend too much in one go, which is absolutely fine. The bag definitely seems like it would last. The quality seems very good. The only thing I have heard from a lot of other people with the bag is the zipper. So the zippers do tend to break. Like within the first week of me having it and doing a post, I had probably 5 people tell me, watch out for the zips, that's the first thing to go. So that's definitely a downside. Hopefully they replace it under warranty if that happens. It hasn't happened to me obviously at the moment. I have noticed that they aren't as good as the Vito zips. So we'll leave it with that and see how it goes overall. So other tools that I've been using at the moment, especially this week, I've been using the soldering iron. I have the Milwaukee soldering iron that runs off the M12 platform. Absolutely love that thing. I'll have to do a bit of footage and probably do another video or something on it. It's really good for the work I'm doing. You can let it stand by itself and you can use both hands to solder. It's really good because it goes on the right angle, and I use actually the 4 amp hour battery, so it does last longer because the soldering iron does chew the juice pretty hard. So with the 4 amp hour it can stay standing by itself and you can use your hands, all that sort of stuff. But it's just an overall great little tool to have in the bag. You don't have to carry around gas and all that sort of stuff. You do have to have batteries obviously. And then on the other hand, I've been using the fish sticks. They came in handy this week. Really smashed out the job with those. Used pretty much every single fish stick. I think there's like 8 in the pack. I think they're about 2.2 meters long or something each. So I used that for a couple of big runs, shooting under a floor through, what have we got? Tray. Just basket tray. Shooting through probably, what we got, maybe 20, 30 cables in one go. So that was really good. Got that done. Still trying to justify the fish sticks. Like, I absolutely love them. I did get them for free from Milwaukee. So like, if you get them for free, you'll definitely use them. But when it comes to those sort of runs, we used to just use conduits, tape them together if they want to be a bit longer. The whisk on the end is brilliant. It definitely does come in handy and makes the job a lot easier. But even then, we used to just bend over the conduit, or you can put a Coke bottle. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. You put a Coke bottle on the end of the conduit and you tape it up, and that way it'll go over any holes on the basket tray and it'll move around the cables a lot easier. That's definitely a tip that you guys can take. Definitely works great. So if you're going from that and spending, I think they're about 500 bucks for the sort of kit that I've got from Milwaukee, it's definitely hard to justify. So let me know in the comments whether you've done it yourself and paid the money. Do you think it's actually worth it? Would you recommend it for other people? It's really hard for me to say. I do absolutely love them. There are circumstances where I do believe the conduit would not have worked. I've done a lot of floor work where I've had to get through really, really tight spots, and the fish sticks have worked brilliantly. You can put a hook on the end, you can put the LED on the end. You've obviously got the whisk. So all those attachments are great. Whether it's worth the $500 plus dollars, still not sure, but yeah, they're definitely great. So one of the other things I've also been using a heap because of AV is my Nipex Ergo strippers. So with AV, we've got a lot of smaller cables, and a lot of them have to be precision because they've got to be the exact same lengths They're very short strips, and they're very small cables. So I've been using the Nipex Ergo strippers. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link and maybe a picture on the screen. I'll try to do that. And the difference is, usually I use my pliers, so a lot of you guys will be using your proper strippers out there, and this probably won't be a problem for you guys. But I usually use pliers, and when I strip smaller cables and even sometimes larger cables, the sheath can actually stretch. It can stretch and it can not cut perfectly, so I'm after perfect cuts, and I don't want to stretch the sheath because then obviously it makes it a different length. You've either got to cut it again or you've got to push it back down, all that sort of stuff. So what I've been using is the Ergo stripper, and that's been absolutely brilliant. But I am thinking about buying a pair of actual strippers, whether it's the Nipex strippers, like obviously that's pretty much the top you can go to. A lot of the guys are raving about that sort of stuff, but I believe they are about 90 to 100 bucks over here in Australia, so that is pretty expensive. The Milwaukee ones are out there. I don't know how much they are. I definitely don't believe they're that price. They'd be a lot cheaper. But I would love to know how many of you guys in Australia are actually using the proper strippers. So the strippers that have the actual holes and different sized holes for different sized cables rather than just pliers. I'd love to get more feedback on that. I have found a couple of guys in Australia that have done it. They got back to me on Instagram, and they've been using them a heap. But obviously it's another tool for me. Like, I don't like to carry too many of the same tools. Like obviously my bags are already full. I love to pack them as much as I can, so I don't have too much room. So to have another tool that will basically do the same job, I'd like to avoid. But at the moment I do think doing this sort of stuff would be handy with that tool. So definitely let me know in the comments. All right guys, so that's about it for me for today. I'm almost at work. Hope you guys have a great weekend. If you have any thoughts on anything I've said or have any ideas of any future content that you want me to do, definitely hit me up in the comments, hit me up in the DM, all that sort of stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and hit the notification bell. It all helps me out a heap. But that's basically it, guys. Thanks.